For better or worse, I am back within maybe an hour or two. Yeah, that's probably modus operandi for me. No, I'm done with that. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I figured I was like, that's wishful thinking to think that I'm not gonna be like, something else that seems important to say. I mean, okay, so I was watching this one, the 11-minute one that I just posted. Uh, I don't know. I was watching this one, and that one. And I was talking about this, and I was talking about how it flows out, and I was like, it flows in, dude. Luckily, I picked up on that. Sitting there thinking about it. And I'm like, at some point, I said something about how these branch off and how they represent a sequence. I'm like, that's interesting. Something I can kind of just ponder as I'm sitting there, especially knowing now. Before it kind of doesn't quite make sense. Like it's a energy propagation this way, so it's kind of random. Like what? Whereas if it's coming into the system, it's kind of like a straw that it's pulling through. So it's kind of pulling it in. And then I noticed this. So here, where it bends out, this branch points, we see a circle ring structure. So it's like, wait a minute, are these ring structures correlated to this process, like on a different scale? I haven't really been gotten past that thought, honestly, but what really got me out of bed, I was just laying there like my ear is clogged. This is fucking lame. I wish I could at least have some money to do things. Watching this and I'm thinking, it's gonna take something real, like pretty solid to. I don't want to make videos just to make videos and spam you guys. Look at me. But if it's like useful, like I should probably say it. So it seems like this comes over. Maybe some of these like Nova centers are really correlated to these streams. I figured, considering it is a stream colliding with another stream. So the inlet stream collides with this stream. Perhaps let's look over perhaps the most intense part of that stream. The edge of that stream. I bet it's the edge along Australia. So an inlet stream is getting pulled directly into the nucleus that is colliding with this stream along Australia's coastline. Or maybe whatever it exactly that is. I mean, it could be Papua New Guinea maybe up here. Because I think it's one unit. Like, Australia's like down here. Like, the new nucleus is here, but the old nucleus was more like here. Like, here. This might be the old nucleus right there. Which was out to here. At least, like, the systems, remnants that are visible in Australia. I think that matches. And this one actually, it's just to the edge to this. The ammonite here. Which is really like the center. of the ammonite. The this is where the like chakras are of the ammonite. Let's see where that is. Let's check it out. Is that underwater here? These right here. These are the like main chakras that are within the body in a way, like the main mass of some other feature that they term in the ammonites, and it's, I believe, like its positive and its negative equivalent to like the sort of like more nucleus of this ammonite. And this is the core nucleus of Australia, which is kind of centered on the actual boundary of Australia. Like it's actually visible right here. So it's just like one of those tables with like a rod down the middle with the table on top. Just sitting on the table. Stand walking on the table, driving along the table. It's not air underneath it, obviously, but it's not as dense as the table itself, this portion. It could be possibly that water goes through here, through this whole region. Mermaids live down here. This is mermaid capital, probably. If there are mermaids, they are all up in there. Just like this is our hood. Don't fuck with us after being told about us either. I wouldn't be surprised. There's all sorts of under table stand under the table. You get in under the table somewhere and swimming on in. I mean, if you're a mermaid, maybe that's like where you live. I don't know. Anyway, pardon me, mermaids. I don't mean to offend or concern, really, because that's really the thing. It's a concern. I don't mean to concern. But I wanted to kind of just maybe talk about this a little bit. It does look kind of like it goes over here. This is, it's kind of making me think of the Jewish, what is it, a menorah? I don't even know. A menorah? Is it? Yeah. I wasn't sure. Kind of making me think of a menorah. So that's cool. That's cool. That's good to see. That's nice. That's nice to see, actually. That's nice. That makes me feel good to see it. Okay. Okay, it's especially after all this shit I've said. To be such a judgmental person of Israel as a country, which probably hurt a lot of individuals' feelings. And Will, who haven't heard me say the thing, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm just making a silly mistake to draw attention to it. But let's just maybe clear it up here. Let's just like move on from everything and just have some peaceful fun in the sharing of everything and figuring out a way forward together. So, with that in mind, this stream. How does it, like, it goes at a 90-degree angle? Does it really? Like, definitively? It's so hard to tell. Like, for sure there's streams going up this way. But, like, I guess it does here. And then there, okay, there we see, there we can see that one. Well, this one we can see some curvature in it. Okay, we can see it there. It's just really sharply turning. Sharply turning. Sharp turn, sharp turn. Really though, I'm doing it the wrong direction. Because it's going inward. So it's coming in, sharp turn, in, sharp turn, in, sharp turn, in, sharp turn, in, sharp turn. I'm doing the same over here. So it's almost like maybe this is coming from within the mantle. Like it's these streams might maybe feed all the way back to here. So I was wondering if, like, as it starts drawing in energy, like right here, this right here, maybe that might actually be the main core of Australia right there. That was existent and is no more. But we can see it here, right here. That's comparable size down to here. Not even this, down to here, I believe. Like there. Which wasn't even the core of Australia, it was the core of the entirety of the whatever it's called that the Southeast Asian island region here are components of, like the main body that was just generally positioned there. Like that, this thing had a lot of mass around it here that it was supporting in the same way as Australia is supporting like a table. Like this thing had a table stand around it that probably went around Papua New Guinea. That's pretty centered relative to down here. And just like pretty much like that much. So let's see. Like this was maybe a part of it here even. Hard to say. It looks like it. It looks like this was conjoined the whole time. And the currents came in here, and because it's conjoined, kind of held it there and just went around like this and eddied. And then maybe this whole chunk. This might have never broken completely, and I might be mistaken. Like this might have just been always together like that, and a wave came through and just like modified it enough to make it look like there's just like, it's hard to tell here, but it may be that like this chunk was mostly like where it is now rather than like being over here and like sliding over. I don't know. This here looks a lot like those vents where like pressure would build up and just create space between the systems. Okay, so back to what I was saying. It's almost like it's supernovas here. Okay. And maybe it like maybe the like precise center of mass of the nucleus as it spirals through all of its decay sequences somehow like pivots on like a track that just moves, leaving its trail, that ultimately then becomes some representation of the inward flow to the final nucleus in some way that then shows the path that it took, like the track that it took. to pull in like the specific amount of energy. So I was thinking like maybe as it's doing this, it's pulling in energy, kind of like maybe it follows this track over this way. It wobbles over here, wobbles up, wobbles over. Maybe it wobbles over. Does it go this way? I don't know. And just does like motions that like decay sequences. That looks kind of like that. Where it goes to the side, goes forward, goes to the side, goes forward. This one can go to both sides, maybe. This one looks like it can branch out. I guess it's branching out maybe in multiple planes across the elements. I don't know what this means, so I should click it probably. Doing that thing where I don't even bother to click the thing. You guys can see this right on any device. You're watching on a large computer screen, right? So as the atomic mass increases, so just the mass contained in the polygon increases. So maybe there's like a limit of stable polygons that we call atoms, and beyond that, the next stable polygon has to be like a conglomeration of polygons. Unless in our environment, like it can be fine in a higher pressure environment to allow for more like material, more mass into the polygons, like the islands. But if there's not pressure from this, that's probably a good point to make there. Like these islands, they have inlets, but they don't have anything in there because they haven't had an outside pressure pushing material from just from its presence, the pressure, just inserting of current into the polygon to fill it. I forgot what I was exactly. Yeah, this. So like, if there's not enough pressure, it's just gonna decay. So it's gonna basically pop. Like one of its valves are gonna pop. The polygon. Let's go to a good polygon. Like here, if this got filled to the brink, to the point where it's like, let's find a good one. The one's right off, bouncing off the edge here. This one's good. It seems like filled to the brink. Like it's we don't even see the polygon because it's over the polygon, I believe. That might be that actually even. I wonder if that's like some. That's not real, is it? That can't be real. I don't know. But it goes over the polygon. Like we can kind of see the polygon a little bit like here maybe. And even actually, that might represent a location where the polygon was up here, but probably here, and it burst a bit, and just kind of created this region because it's under too much pressure. It got filled. It came over here as one of these bubbles, bounced off of this energy, boom. Like this, and got filled, but it got filled more to the point where they're full. And they're like this one's got a bit of its boundary still, the polygon's edge. That looks like that's actually the original polygon, maybe, although maybe not. That's cool. This little whoa. It's just like Africa coming from South America. It was a drip from a stream. South America was streaming into Africa, creating this drip. So here, streaming across. This stream flows across, comes through this tiny point at the very end, which makes it a strong current through here and up specifically around this system like that. Like we can see the blue there. I hope I can find that again. Same thing though, it's got these little extensions and then that going on. Which means that broke away from something that was feeding a current into it. Which was I looking at this? Yes. So maybe like it tapped in. Like it came in like this one came in and then the tip like tapped into the source there. Like let's find it. Like here maybe, or wait, where are we looking? We're over here. Right, yeah, Fiji, yeah, we're looking here. It tapped into this source. This energy was flowing, and that was filling the voids in the region. So I guess that polygon went in the right path in the right region, so that it was really filled. These got filled, and then it separated. But it was so full, as we can see by the polygon itself being so full, it was trailing still the material in until it had so much of a pressure inside that it was forced to disconnect, and then it just came out here as it is there. I don't know what it connected to exactly. Maybe it was from connected over here and has some visible flows here, but I don't know if South America has that flow visible, like maybe this kind of, but it's not quite the same appearance. So we would almost expect to see something more like this around the source, I'd imagine. Considering that's crazy. That's such a huge... Whew. Where is that? Oh, that's right at the tip. It's a little guy. Look how massive it looked. Like there's another one. There's a little Moringa one there. But it looks like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. That looks like a vortex maybe, where it folded in here and some currents were going on. Let's see. I don't know, maybe related to something. I don't know, was that over here even? Besides the point, oh my god. Okay. So it was tapped in there, I guess. Does Fiji have that kind of characteristic? I don't know why I went that way. Fiji's real interesting. Like, I don't know if it would truly have connected physically to the body of Fiji where it left any. Look at that polygon. How cool. Whoa, that kind of did something. Whoa. What in the... What if it was actually like that? They just never cleared that out of the camera. No one caught that there's a huge gaping downward upward spot there somehow. Oh, If only. No, that seems frightening. Seems frightening. I like little smiley faces instead. Oh, so this has a nice little inlet there. Or outlet. Maybe it's because it has an outlet. Has an outlet. Whoa. Whoa. This looks like some energy was drawn off of it. Like this formed as completely. Oh, so did this. Like this energy right here. This material, like it probably polygon just pressure, like the polygon physically pressed against the other polygon. So it's like membranes. And the pressure caused, like if it's pressuring here, maybe like an outlet over here starts to gush, and then the same polygon then has like a easily penetrable polygon with because it's empty. And so it goes in. So it literally bounces off it, takes some material with it, and then goes over there. So there's things just bouncing off of the side of these islands. I assume? I mean, it sure looks like it. This stream doesn't quite go to it exactly. Although some of them are going in that direction, and there's also no apparent continuation of the stream, really. Although it may be this. Maybe this. Which then just goes down to there. And then maybe it hits here and goes down as well. Like this was some barrier pushed up by this thing here. The leg of the angel holding in this region to make it really Fiji. And then these these shells of electrons that are photons, I think. I think the Earth has like a nucleus, like the inside of the shell can contain like mantle. And sorry, Dad. And polygons can press against one another, and they can exchange the material within them in a way where like what we call a photon by the photoelectric effect is a polygon, an empty polygon, traveling as. I mean, this one doesn't even. This one looks really like a radio wave, kind of like empty, really just disperse. Actually, not even a polygon, but many polygons, many just like tiny polygons that are so subtle that they kind of make up their own little blob here, where they still treat it like a single island, even though it's really not like that. Here's a nicely formed polygon that looks balanced. Like the outer polygon is like not overwhelmed, but it's not like just sand. It's like a rocky, more rocky material even looking. Where is this? Futuna. Alofi. Yeah, so that seems to really make sense. So like it's probably just like that where there's a polygon that is a shell. Empty shell. It is a polygon. Just like, let's find an empty one, like these. Here's one. Here's like a good one, because it's kind of triangular. I mean, starting to fill in. But it stopped because I guess the inlet is no longer really bringing material in. So it's kind of just chilling in this state, but there's a photon, and maybe this is like an intermediary between a photon and an electron, some intermediary particle like a quark, some one of those kinds of things. I don't know. Something. It may represent something of that nature, but there's, generally speaking, there is a like base like bubble shell that is the photon equivalent, and then it can fill with material until it becomes an electron, I would say. So like when these bubbles bounce off of this and absorb some of the material into their polygons, then they move on over here with that material and just take some of the material out of this one. So this polygon loses some material, and those ones gain some material. And somewhere in the middle, let's look at this is a good example. Is this Kursk magnetic anomaly? Is it has like a really deep void, and then really deep void, really deep void, and then like less voids, and then really like a lot of material spots, where it's almost like it has electrons that are empty electron shell positions that are not filled, and then there's electrons that are filled. And so it bonds with things around it to fill the void, to basically to block current flowing this way, to protect the polygon, because it doesn't have any material to like resist the inflowing current. And then photons and electrons form that way, I would say, like bubbles, and then becoming electrons. But different octaves, if we can do the same thing. Electron, maybe neutron, because it has the entirety filled, whereas if it has missing space, it's maybe, or like maybe not neutron, but like a neutral system, something more balanced. I bet we can find which polygons took the material from here, if we haven't already. Because they definitely collided into here, and when they moved away, we can even tell this is almost like a miniature Antarctica. Maybe this was like Fiji was like the top blown by one of the supernovas of Australia's. We can even see a circle in it, exactly centered on it. Maybe it is the top being blown, and then because Antarctica, the top blew from Antarctica, and it has one of those that was connected like that through to the main body. So maybe this one had something like that connected to the main body, so it just had that structure, but because it was the top of a nucleus underneath the Earth's crust. which was transformed in a way where we can't detect the, like, it shows the new age enough to not really maybe see that. I'm not sure what's going on with Fiji's material or anything. I know it does have it for sure because I thought it was different materials here. I looked and realized it's different materials like here. It still has a really interestingly like different. I think it's right there. This here kind of, or maybe here. Like it really does have like a sort of yin and yang to the materials as well as like the greenery. So just the way like the everything flows here. That even looks like a little vortex. And then there's this thing is just the epicenter of vortices of that the Earth's like expansion process, I guess, in some way. Do we see, and we can see an ammonite maybe, like there, like the ammonite shell? Maybe that. Definitely ammonite-like features here. Okay, sounds like football's on, so I'll be back.